Thank you very much for this short interview to speak about my involvement in the tobacco control and the first process that we had, which led to the creation of ATCA. May I start with saying that I became involved in tobacco control in Mozambique, invited by the late Tamayunda from Zambia, who invited me to become what at that time we called the don't be duped change agent. This was the beginning of it was in 2000, the beginning of the negotiation in Geneva for the drafting of what we call today the Framework Convention of Tobacco Control. And at that time, in Mozambique, nobody knew what was this problem of tobacco control. What was in there was that, people only knew tobacco or cigarette smoking, and they only knew the industry prospering in the country, and the government believed that the industry was contributing to the national economy. But when I started speaking about the need to control tobacco, at that time I was understood as a person who was to bring some movement which could be fighting against the national economy. So this was very difficult. But I had a training in Geneva as don't be duped change agent. And after this training, and I remember that we had the first financial resources from WHO to hold the first tobacco control workshop for journalists in Mozambique. So it was very interesting because for the first time that the journalists started speaking about the movement which was becoming to control tobacco. And for the first time that we brought up the question of to control tobacco, and the government was not at that time unlike to hear this problem of controlling tobacco, because it would be a question of working against the national economy, to undermine the national economy. So, but luckily enough, because we had support from WHO, and we worked with the WHO country office, so we had the journalists started bringing up the ideas. And then in 2000, there was a meeting in Algiers where the Mozambique government was invited to participate in the regional meeting on tobacco control. And this meeting was to make a consultation of the African position in the INB negotiation in Geneva. But when the government got this invitation, they indicated me to go to the meeting, but I was not working for the government. But then I had to go to Algiers, and when I went there, I had to sit at the government's chair, because there was no Mozambican from the government. And they said, well, the credential that the organizers had was indicating my name to represent the government. So I had to represent the government, but I was not I was not from the government. So I had to sit and then speak. All my position was as a government representative. At this meeting, for the first time, I met Akinbode. He came from Nigeria as a civil society representative in that meeting, because this was the governmental meetings of the African region, WHO African region. This was the first time that I met Akinbode. And from that time, so we were working, contacting each other, and then we went to Geneva, we met again, and from Geneva, then we had another workshop, training workshop in Jinja, Uganda, where again we met. The group was growing, so from then we started speaking about an African organization on tobacco control. So the ideas came up, and then from then we met again in Canada. There were Inusi and other people from different countries of Africa. Then we sat down. We started speaking about it and the need to create an African tobacco control movement. But there was no name. We were just speaking about ideas and trying to find out how we could bring up the issue and then start working seriously towards the creation of the movement. Look, we had another meeting in Abuja. So that meeting, Patricia was there, Miss Veronique from Mauritius was there. Many people were there. There was a very, very big group now in training, in discussing tobacco control. And then we now had a very concrete idea of what we are going to do. We were aware that there was a need really to create a regional civil society organization that would push up tobacco control in Africa, working with the governments, especially in Geneva during the INB negotiations. And then after that, after Abuja, we went to Bangkok, Thailand. In Thailand, then we had a meeting with all African civil society organizations which were present there. I was there, Mr. Akinbode was there, with many other people we met, including our first executive secretary. So he volunteered to take up the matter and start putting down the constitution. And this work was done until the meeting in South Africa, Unfortunately, I couldn't go there, but that was the meeting which now where ATCA was brought up as an organization with the name of ATCA. So the process was very long, and it was not easy. It was very difficult because we were just volunteers in this, and with a new organization coming up. If we compare what the beginning of ATCA and we're comparing today, we are very happy that our efforts were not futile, that we worked very hard, and that today we are very happy to see that ATCA has grown up, and that ATCA now is worldwide known, and not because of being an organization, but because of the activities that it's carrying out, very concrete activities in many countries, involving the members, all of us. Today, that ATCA is very effective, strong, and it's growing up so that we can make tobacco control a reality in Africa. So looking at the objectives of ATCA, the principles, and the programs that ATCA has, we believe that it will be a great contribution to tobacco control process, not only in the African region, but also in all the world, because we are members of the World Tobacco Control family. So our contribution is very important, and we hope that the African region will be one of the regions or one of the part of the world that will make tobacco control very effective. We know that there are some difficulties because the tobacco industry is very strong. It has money, it has financial resources, and they are lobbying everywhere. But we are also determined to work in order to help the governments to control the industry. Thank you.